Hello and welcome to the Secret Adventures of Black People. I'm your host, Nichole Hill. It was a cold, sunny December day in 2019 on the streets of London. I've been there for almost a week, investigating. I've gone to Black theater productions, ate at Black-owned restaurants, walked around Black neighborhoods, visited Black history exhibits at museums and libraries, in part because I wanted to support my people, but also I wanted to find the answer to a question that had recently become quite important to me. Were these my people? Maybe it's a little Pollyanna-ish to wonder about, but I wanted to see if their Black, like the British Black, felt the same as my Black, the American kind. I mean, we have very different histories, and being raised in America has made me embarrassingly unaware of theirs. Plus, we did make Idris Elba talk in an American accent for all that time, so maybe they feel some type of way about it. I'm at the Museum of London at the Docklands in front of this exhibit on the Windrush generation. The Windrush keeps coming up on this trip. I like that word, Windrush. This exhibit tells the story of how, between 1948 and 1971, all these Black people from the Caribbean were recruited to come to the UK to help fill labor shortages after World War II. And the British government was like, all y'all come through, everybody's British, kids, you travel on your parents' passports, now you're British, we don't care. And legend has it that is how London became the multicultural city it is today, and it was all love all the time, the end. But 50 or 60 years later, Theresa May and her crew went to the children of the Windrush generation, who are now senior citizens, and said, oh, you don't have a passport? Then you're not British, and you can get out. And they start deporting and detaining and denying benefits and jobs and housing to all these old Black folks. The immigration part of things feels foreign, but all that injustice, that checks out. I look around the exhibit, and everyone within reach is white, and I'm not talking to them about this. And then, as if on cue, the crowds part, and I see this beautiful Black woman walking towards me. Well, she's walking in a direction that is not away from me, so I pounce.
Okay, no problem. I can talk I know a tiny bit, but I can tell you, I can say little bits if you want.
It's so helpful to me, all of it. But I just came from the third floor. I went there, and it was just like...
Yeah, it's shocking.
Blown away.
Yeah.
I didn't know, I've never heard of
Creoles, yeah.
People. Never heard of that.
Oh my God, yeah. Again, there's so much subcultures within the African diaspora. It's not just Afro-Caribbean or where do you from?
American.
Are you American?
Yeah.
So, like American as well, you have your history, or Canada, or even Latin America. So there's a huge diaspora of Black people.
Already bringing in the diaspora element of things. I like it. I still want to play it cool though, so I think let's start off easy. Maybe let's chat about this Windrush exhibit we're standing in front of.
As how in London became like multicultural.
Yeah, and the Windrush was
it's
like symbolic. But there must have been Black people here already, or that was just the first big.
I think this was a big one because there were 500 of them that came, but there were Black people that came way before. Yeah, there's Black people always here, but I think this was a big chunk.
Yeah,
because they came from that Windrush boat, which is this small
That's
video.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went to see Dick Whittington and his cat.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday, which
cool.
I didn't know was a kid's play. I thought it was
I don't even know it.
Oh,
so many
okay.
kids play, like there's Paddington, there's this, but yeah.
So many, they did it. They cast all the characters as Jamaican, and so they sang this song, and they came over on the Windrush, and they talked about it. But I was like, "What is it?" And then I saw it in some graffiti where it was like, I guess it was talking about them trying to send the Windrush folks back, and the graffiti was like,
justice for the Windrush generation.
Yes.
And I was like, what is this?
Yeah, and that's what it is, because there's so many injustice that came into it, because like you're asking people to come to a country and participate and have contributed to the economy, but then you're quickly going to take off the citizenship, and there's a lot of like fear and ignorance attached to it.
Okay. I feel like that's enough warming up. I'm ready to get into it.
I grew up in Latin America, so again, I grew up in Argentina, but I'm Congolese, so it's a crazy mix.
I was gonna say, I hear like a little bit of an accent too.
Yeah,
Like,
I got a bit of an accent.
Yeah.
There's a way of an accent. But again, over there too, there's that big taboo with blackhood and the Afro Latin sense of it. Do you know what I mean? And the diaspora there is another fish over there. Coming here in the UK was like a big opening, because it was like not just the diaspora of African people. You have Afro-Caribbean, you have Afro-Americans, you have Afro-Latinos, and then they all have the similar experience as being black outside of Africa. You still have that same experience, that experience navigating in the world.
Yeah.
That diaspora element of being an African, but not being in Africa, but having the experience of experiencing racism or injustice, or as a woman, injustice as a woman, or whatever. It's like that,
and trying to figure out who you are
as well in the world.
So it's like,
that's a big one.
It's very confusing. Like for me, I'm African American. In America, I'm just black. But when I come overseas, it's like, well, I don't really want to say I'm African American, because that's ridiculous. Because I don't know anything about Africa. I don't know where in Africa I'm from.
And to me, it's even worse, because I am African.
Right.
I know where I'm from, but I never lived there.
Oh.
But then I had the culture at home. My parents are Africans, and that happens to a lot of African people. It's really it's a little bit confusing, but then at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say, that when you have the experience as a black person outside of Africa, you pretty much have the same experience like any other black person in the world. That makes sense. You still want to figure out who you are and where you come from, and those always pop out, because people will always ask you, so where do you come from? And where you really
like
come
really,
from. Really come from.
Yes.
So it's not even about where you come from anymore, it's about where you really
come from.
Like,
I'm here.
But I'm here, and then you're always trying to sort your identity, knowing who you are over and over and over.
Yeah.
It is wild to me that having the same amount of melanin connects us to this degree. I mean, I could have guessed that we'd be able to feel each other even though we're such different kinds of black. I just wanted to see for myself. I think I have my answer, but just for good measure, I had to check on two more topics that always come up in casual conversation with black folks back home.
So when you come into the museum, because it was bombed during the war, it was much bigger. But now it's quite small, and everything has been rebuilt, hotels, fancy offices. It's very fancy, with all the backbone transatlantic slavery, all of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, I walk around, I was like,
I'm like, boy, reparations.
I mean,
now.
Hello.
Night.
Ding, 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 pay us. That's one.
At the end of the day, people are borrowing money that they don't have.
Exactly. That's exactly
buying things that we don't need.
That's exactly it.
Things are more expensive. So if you can't afford a house, but you can borrow money here.
Right. It catches up
and
with
then
you.
Catches up exactly, and then that creates a whole financial mess, and there's not enough jobs, and you're stuck into the, so I think the world needs a revolution, but I don't know
Yeah, like where does it
I don't know where does it start.
Talk of the coming revolution? That's 2 for 2. Case closed.
Yeah, because my friend spent Christmas with her family in Paris. There was no transport.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. So I was supposed to be there right now, but I'm not you, so I'm glad.
Hey, it's me, Nichole. I'm the producer and host, and thank you for listening to The Secret Adventures of Black People. You can follow the show on Secret Adventures of Black People on Instagram. Thank you for story editing assistance from Shonte Hill, and biggest thank you of all to Juanita Ueca, my guest for this episode, who let me accost her at the museum and ask her a bunch of questions and record it. She just happens to be this big deal singer in the UK, so you should absolutely follow her at Juanita Ueca. That's, Juanita and then EUKA on Instagram. It's also in the show notes and stuff. And shout out to the adventurers over at the Black Ticket Project, or BTP for short. They're a UK-based organization working with youth groups, charities, schools, and art companies to build stronger ties between artistic institutions and the Black community. Black is in the diaspora. They're buying free theater tickets and organizing transportation for young people and free training and development for aspiring artists and patrons. Almost every day of my trip over there, I saw a Black theater production, and it was heaven. That's the Black Ticket Project on Patreon. See you soon for more stories about Black folks holding it down across space and time.